Looks like one take one.
Hey, this is Sam and Craig from Twin Atlantic, and we're here today to go through our tracks on our new album, Power. Yeah, Oh Euphoria we wrote in our studio kind of over the course of what felt like 2 or 3 weeks. It wasn't, it was kind of like an ongoing looped piece of music. It almost started to develop this sort of disco feel that we thought we should embrace, and it gave birth to the kind of concept that we kind of seeded throughout the album of the guitar being the star of the show rather than try to turn it down. Yeah, I guess the lyrics are just completely nonsensical, which was quite freeing because I've always tried to write songs that meant something to me or were about something, but this was one of the first times that I was able to kind of just let go of that, and I guess that's why we had it as the opening track of the record, because it kind of felt like an introduction to that style of writing. Barcelona was a really fun song for us to write in the studio. We never embrace mistakes. We tend to like delete them over the years. I can recreate it in Cinema Magic now. I leaned against a synth just like that, and it kind of was already on a setting that caused like this loop that the song started on, and it sort of triggered this thought in my head of writing the song as little kind of vignettes that you would get in a screenplay rather than a kind of linear song that tells a story. But musically we just kept it really playful.
You guys kind of figured out how to merge the electronics with emotion. I kind of feel that was the point where it was like we can still kind of do our thing on it, but with like kind of a completely new sound, but it's still got a kind of connection to things before. It's kind of like a bit of a like light bulb moment in that respect.
There's a bit of irony that overshadows Novocaine being on the record, because we got to the end of the recording and we all kind of categorically decided, yeah, this isn't going on there. This hasn't made the cut, and then it ended up being the first single.
There was like a last minute mix change that kind of totally changed the chorus, though, which kind of made it work. I want to say like the pure 12 hour.
It's the only song on the record that is like a literal story that actually happened. It's where I met up with my wife at the end of us touring around the States for 3 months, and then she travelled to meet me there, and we had this very cliched romantic what do they call it, rom-com experience trip there. So that's what the song's about.
Rom-com? It's comedy as well.
Yeah, I mean, like anything that involves me trying to be like romantic is definitely funny.
That's good.
We chose to include interludes on this record because there was always little snippets of experimenting that along the way we were like, oh, we need to include this, but it doesn't need to be a song, and we never actually did. We always ended up deleting them or like losing synth patches. So we got to the end of the record and we thought we'd have two kind of contrasting things that summed up our experience of being more hands-on with the studio, and I just kind of did a live drum loop. Like I used to try and explain drum beats with like my body would turn into this fluid organism that had never
You're like this little guy
played a drum beat in its life. I'd be like, like and
you know, like those the things that like blow about in the wind, like
it
was like that, but your mouth be doing something else. But you're actually really good at it on a computer, surprisingly, because your mouth and your body don't seem to communicate that. But yeah, your like instincts like really good. It's weird. I was surprised.
Compliment. But yeah, that's what this little snippet is meant to kind of represent, is that little bubble of progress. I feel it too is quite wild, and it's always at the edge of like thrilling, and you think that it's reached its ceiling and then it just keeps on taking another little step up, whether that's like melody or rhythm or just dirty bottom end that we just keep finding more space for. There's a little bit of a kind of nod in there to like early 2000s like indie band culture that was always a kind of crossover for like, I'd go to like an indie gig or go to like a bar that was playing more of that type of music, and then I'd go to like a kind of electronica club night, and that it's kind of like fused the two together. And there's a line or two in the song about walking up a hill to go to like a club night thing, where you know what I'm talking about. And it's because I was a student at the art school in Glasgow, and it was like a kind of infamous place to go on a night out where you'd regret everything. So obviously on this record we we kind of fell in love with synthesis and the downward spiral of trying to figure out how they work. And as the album progressed, we started to sort of change sides from like full on like more is more. Like we wanted like this really full on wall of sound experience, and this was a song that we managed for honestly I think for the first time to have like a full on drum beat, like a full band production that was minimal and didn't feel cheesy or feel I don't know, too kind of like hands in the air sort of swaying thing that rock usually falls victim to. And there's a song by a DJ called Felix the Housecat called Ready to Wear that Ross and I, our bass player Ross and I, just always go back to. It's kind of like the song that makes you feel like a night out's begun, or you hear it the next morning and kind of like reinvigorates you, and we tried to capture that energy with this song. Asynchronous is like the second interlude on the record, and again it's kind of showing light to the dark of the first one called Mount Bungo. Every day since we set up the studio, Ross, whether I was making it or not in that day, I'm a busy guy, I'm very busy, can't be there every day. He would just go in and like play the piano. That's like his first instrument that I guess he learned when he was a kid, and so he'd recorded that piano piece on his own, and was shy about showing me. He didn't show me it until like the end. Oh, I've got this, what do you think? And just took it as is, unedited, ran it through the studio, added like some more kind of natural organ parts and stuff like that. I had a recording on my phone from Ross's favourite place in the world, which is Zuma Beach, just before Malibu in California, which is very la-di-da and world traveller of us, but we are. Okay, what do you want me to do about it? It's tough being an international touring rock star. But I'd recorded like the beach there on our last record, and just thought that'd be a nice kind of like ode to him. Do you know what I mean? He's kind of like stepped up as a songwriter and a producer and filled, I think, a role that he was always kind of meant to, you know, have the room in our band to do. And so it kind of felt like a nice little tribute to him to take that idea and turn it into his own little kind of mini multiverse universe thing. Volcano was a track that was very kind of like rough and more of a rock track as a demo, and we kind of dug into it a little bit more when
it kind of existed before you kind of set the studio up.
Yeah, because that bass riff is just so like magnetic. We'd came off the only label we'd ever worked with since we were like teenagers, and we were kind of like trying to find ourselves a new record deal or whatever, thinking, this will be easy, man, arrogantly and foolishly. But it was the first time we'd played like a demo to anyone where someone said, oh, what did this producer X do on this? We'd only ever done it ourselves. So it kind of like, we put it on the record and it kind of represents like almost like a stamp of like attitude and authority that we'd, I don't know, finally grown up and we're like taking things into our own hands. Power as an album is the first time we've ever written a record and then actually gone on to like record it in the one place. We've always like written at home and then gone to California and recorded over there, or written songs on the road or something in a bit of an alien environment like a dressing room or on a tour bus somewhere. I guess that started to like bleed into like my subconscious and my psyche. The longer I was spending in Glasgow, some of the kind of like darker corners of its culture were sort of resurfacing to me a little bit. And it could just be like, I guess everyone's living in front of this backdrop of like political unrest just now and chaos between like everyone's opinion on the right and wrong way to live your life. And Glasgow's always kind of had that seedy underbelly between the two kind of fractions of Catholic and Protestant. So living there, writing, recording again, it just kind of was always in the front of my mind. Like, right, even in a lot of the other songs on the record, I'm talking about God and kind of contradicting it and making fun of religion, and because I kind of see it as quite a problematic lifestyle choice, just personally. I know people use it for really positive things, but I guess my whole life, coming from a split family where half my family were one side and half my family were another, that was just a kind of a moment that I guess I was able to distill all that down and try and get it across in one song, and I guess that's why it sounds so foreboding and menacing, and like this big, almost like this big slow dinosaur of the record that's like quite scary and building. But yeah, that was the inspiration behind the lyrical content anyway. Praise Me is probably like the heaviest track on the record, quite easily, I think. I don't know, we just felt like we were missing this big slab of like in your face like rock thing. Maybe we were missing it because we're tinkering about with synths and like CV gates and like patching different things and recording, and this was like our cathartic way of just like, I don't know, just doing something on a really grand big scale again, because that's kind of how we'd always written songs before, but we fused that with like drum programming and big massive roomy drum sounds, and again kind of touching on that like religious or anti-religious theme. It just was such a monster that we felt like it was quite a powerful way to finish a record.